may hire your direct sales agent, or you can use wholesaler, or you can use, say, a very professional, say, a retailer, many different methods. The point is, say, depending on what types of distribution strategy you choose, your effectiveness of delivery your product to customers are determined, right? So no matter how good your product service is, if your customers are not satisfied with your, say, distribution method, then simply your best product service are not that much good to your companies. So distribution strategy is quite important. So these are some of the method you can use as your distribution method. But point is that, like, how can you know that which one is the best your, say, method of distribution? Very tricky and hard questions, but I mean, this graph shows that the effectiveness of using, say, intermediaries for distributing your products. If you just try to deliver your item directly to the students, as you see here, there are that many transactions. But if you use, say, one intermediaries in the middle, then simply by contacting that intermediaries, you are actually reaching 5 here customers by using just one transaction, right? So that intermediaries, distributors are handling 4 here transactions. So actually you can reduce your, say, direct distributions. But using that intermediaries is not always successful to your business. There are some kind of a problem in these mechanisms. If, say, these distributors are very powerful, for instance, just like Coca-Cola, for instance, when Coca-Cola distribute the soft drink to customers, the company rely on bottling companies for doing their job. But the problem was that bottling company who distribute the Coke to customers, it was the bottling company who know more about the customers, not really the Coca-Cola. So the bargaining power is getting bigger and more powerful to the, say, distributor, not Coca-Cola itself. See what I'm saying? So that's why relying too much on intermediary may be not really good to your business if you're really concerned about like long-term business success. So very tricky questions. What should be the scale scope of using that distribution channel, distributors for your business? Again, there's no really concrete answer in business field. If we know that, then all of the business company may be successful. So the same questions actually here. So when you are thinking about like the degree of distributions, or to what extent you have to use the, say, distributor for your business, you have to think about, of course, the power of the distributors. But also, you have to, of course, you have to estimate, in this case, like the power of bookstores. If they are too powerful, then they may be selective to your item, not you are selective to their item. So you have to see the power of the distributors as well. And also you have to look at the length of distributions. If there are required lots of distributions in the middle between you and customers, just like when farmers provide the agriculture product to you, there are a lot of, say, intermediaries, right? By going through the intermediaries, actually the consumers at the end pay really, really high price of the agriculture product, which is really bad. In that case, you better not to use too much, say, distributors' help. So you have to look at the power of the distributor, and you have to estimate the length of the distribution channel. Just look at your business. Do your business require a lot of, say, distribution method between you and your customers? If there requires a lot of, say, intermediaries, then you better not to use that many distributors. And also, you have to look at like channel exclusivities. It's just like exactly the meaning, same meaning with like the power of the distributors here. If they are really, really powerful, then unless you are really strongly involved with that, the distributor's business, I mean, if you are really close to the distributors, then certainly your business may be inferior to your, say, to the business. Let's say that Walmart, for instance, is the only company that can sell your product. You may be happy at the beginning because Walmart is actually displaying your product and selling your product. But in the longer term, they may asking you keep lowering your selling price to maximize their profit. Since the Walmarts are so having exclusive, say, right or power in selling your product, you just follow or take what they say to you. So, so you have to look at how many channels required in your business, and also the degree of power of the distributors in your business. But fortunately, this day, because of, say, IT and internet and e-commerce, we can actually buy lots of products not really going to the market. You can just online shopping, for instance. Like the benefit of online shopping is that it far reduce the distribution channel of the supplier and manufacturer. So that's why from customers, we can buy certain things at cheaper price. And also the manufacturer can sell, say, their product at quite competitive price to the customers. So kind of a revolutionary, right, this day, because of the way of distribution systems are changing. So probably what you may see in your textbook may be kind of old-fashioned, old stories, because the world of distribution now quite different. However, fundamentally, it is good for you to think about the power of using wise method of distribution to your business. And you make sure to know that that's the job of the marketing people. And also, finally, you have to think about the promotional strategy of your product. Simply, you have to increase the recognition of your product to public. But how? How can you do that? By using your own salesmen, or by sponsoring like Olympic or big events or celebrities, or by forming like a lot of, say, public relationships. So rather than selling your product, promoting your product directly, you may simply like doing good things to society, so you can actually improve your image of product positively in more like indirect way. That may be the one way of promoting your product. And finally, you may use, say, TV, radio, and directly advertising your item. So probably this part, the promotional part, may be the most cost-taking job in marketing, because like using like time in air would be very expensive all the time. So since your company's budgets are limited, so you have to think about what is the most efficient way, with the minimum resource but the maximum effect of promoting your product. So yeah, lots of very complicated concern you have to do in marketing. You have to determine like promotion strategy, price strategy, place strategy, and product strategies. So all that part belonging to the marketing. So and having said that, using that marketing, thinking about that marketing mix in international contexts are also would be totally also different stories sometimes. So that would be the actually what you are going to learn in marketing. So very simple, right? You have to think about like what would be the potential market. You have to simply say you have to go through the assessments of the market, and you have to find out what should be the specific market to yourself, and then you choose 4P for that particular market segment. That's what you are actually going to learn in marketing. And finally, look at like financial management, which is also you are going to study in financial management in third year, in fourth year. So let me just briefly introduce what's the idea's main topic in this subject and what you are going to learn in financial management. So it is again management, right? It is a management, but not really managing the people, but it is managing the finance things, aspects of the firms. So, so financial simply management means that how a company, how a manager is able to manage, say, yeah, cash flow, right? So the goal of the firm is like making profits, so money keeps flowing to your firms, right? Just keep making money, right? Just look at yourself. You just make money, right? For a part-time job or whatever, you just make money. But you have to also expand. You have to spend money for doing something. So the money keep coming to you and flow out of you, right? So you have to manage it wisely. So that's what we call financial management. Like company make a lot of money, but they also spend a lot of money for something. So money keep flow in and out all the times. But what matters here is that money flow in and flow out should be balanced. If more money flow out compared to flow in, then your company, what I call is bankrupt, right? So also the opposite condition situation, like a lot of money flow in, but you really not much money is actually going out. So you may be saying that's good, but that's not really good. Right? Earning a lot of money is good, but from company's perspective, that money should be also spent wisely, what I call investment. So investment means that you have to keep nurturing yourself. Without having food every day, you will be weakening and weakening. You will be okay short term, but in the long term, you will be, say, suffer from any disease. Right? So financial management simply means that the manager should keep the right balance of money coming in to your firm and money coming out to your companies. So just imagine the typical, say, mothers doing if mothers are housewife. Right? So without really managing well of the income of that house, then probably the house would be in bankrupt. So that's financial management. More specifically, the financial management and financial manager's job is determine like how to spend money, of course. How to spend money. How to spend money means where to spend money, right? You have money here, but you just cannot use that money for nothing, right? You have to have a plan for your money spending, right? The company exactly, they have money in their bank account, but they have to have a plan. This year, we are going to use that money for this. And next year, we are going to use that money for that. So they have to determine where they are going to use that money, what I call investment. And also, the financial managers determine how to raise money. Right? If the company, say, need to spend money, then that means the company should earn money. Without having money, the company then cannot really spend money, right? Spend money for something else. But you may say that as far as the company have some income or earning, which is in the saving account, then why not just using that money in the saving account for expenditure? That's right for our individual level. So if you need to spend money for doing something, just look at your, say, bank account. If there's money there, then you can use the money to buy something, right? Books, bicycle, or whatever, coffee, whatever. But sometimes, what if, say, you don't have any money in your bank account, but you still need to buy food, you still need to pay rent, and so on, but no money in your bank account. Then what are you going to do? What? Mom's card. You can use mom's card, father's card, or you can steal, right? But if company does that, the company doesn't have any mother, father, and if company steal that money from any other, then the company would be really, really in serious trouble. So how to raise money? That is the question. If you still need to spend money, but if the company does have not enough money, then company should raise money. How to raise the money? So that decision making is what I call, so where to spend money and how to raise money. So those two jobs you are going to learn in financial management, which is very interesting, exciting as well. So these are kind of how the mechanisms of cash flow, where the money comes to you and where the money comes out of your companies, right? Like if you say this is your firms, then you have to use your money for 배당, dividends to your shareholders, obviously. So you have to buy machine, trucks, equipment, land, buildings sometimes. You have to pay water, electricity, bills, a lot of things, right? So a lot of, say, expenditure you required. So you have to, say, buy fixed assets, land simply, property. Like building could be the fixed asset. So that would be, the bottom here would be the money expenditure of the firm, and the bottom, the half of the upper here would be the where the money actually come to you. The sales, if you sell something, then the money comes to you, your firms. That is actually money, cash flow in. And other investors may buy your firm stocks. Buy your firm stock means their money comes to your bank account, right? So that may be also cash flow in. Or if you don't really have not enough money then, but if you still need money, you can borrow from the bank, right? That money anyway, what I call debt, is anyway cash in, right, to your bank account. So borrowed money can be your cash in. Or if you say, if you sell your building, for instance, if you sell your equipment or some fixed asset, the assets, fixed asset means 고정자산, right? So fixed, if you sell, say, building, somebody pay you in cash. So that's cash in. And collection of account receivable. I mean, when you actually go to buy something, you buy something and pay at the same time. But in real business field, say if you sell 100,000 car to USA, then USA customers pay you, but actually you receive money mostly 3 months later, 6 months later, or 12 months later, right? So the money transactions not occurring simultaneously all the time. So that's the difference between our business transaction and the company's business transaction. So account receivable means that if you sell, say, 10,000 car to USA buyer, then the USA buyer give you a check to you. That is a payment, but the payment, the real money of that payment arrive your bank account, say 6 months later. So that is how the check is described, right? The huge amounts of money, the buyer cannot really pay you right away. So that's why their payments tend to be mostly very somewhere in the future in very delayed way. So that's kind of a typical international trade. But anyway, once you receive that, that's what I call account receivable. You are expect to receive money in the future. But once you clear that check, that's what I call a collection of account receivable. So these are the major source of cash flow to you. So if these things happening simultaneously, then you don't really need to learn financial management, because it's very easy to calculate, because this is happening in just one day, then very easy to calculate, right, how much money goes out and how much money comes in. But the date of happening all these are just arbitrarily within one calendar year. So you should be very keep eye on balancing. Say you spend 1,000,000 won, but say, yeah, I'm going to receive 1억 won 6 months later, so it is okay. So even though there's nothing in my bank account, but I'm going to anyway receive 1억 won 6 months later, so it is okay to spend 1,000,000 won now, which is wrong. No matter how money you are going to receive 6 months later, if your bank account is 0 at the moment, but if you still make a kind of obligation to pay something, then that's what I call bankruptcy. Right? So there should be always a balance, right? So you have to calculate this kind of a money transaction all the times. So you have to always maintaining the balance. You know what I'm saying, right? My salary date is 25 every month. So before then, I cannot buy something, right? Even if I have a credit card, I have no way to pay. So I only determine to buy something after my salary arrived in my bank account. So that's actually what we mean by here. So, so in order for you to make the balance, what you need to understand is what kind of expenditure you need to have, right? You have to consider that one first. Sorry, yeah, we have to go quite quick. I'm really quick at this one, right? Expenditure. Some expenditures are what I call a short-term expenditure, and some expenditures are long-term expenditure. Short-term expenses, which means that if you spend now, you have to pay right away. Long-term expenditure means that if you spend something, you don't really need to pay now. You can pay someday later. So there are actually, from the company's perspective, two types of spending. So you have to know if you still need to make spending, whether it is a short-term spending or long-term spending. So these are some of the categories of the short-term spending. Simply, this is not really item for you as a short-term spending. So this is kind of your action for your short-term spending. Like you spend rent, the company spend rent, utility every month. The company spend money for salary, right? So that kind of spending is what we call short-term expenditure, short-term spending. So for managing that one, the company should concern these activities: cash management, account receivable, and inventories. Because without checking this, if these conditions are bad, then your short-term expenditure, your short-term spending would be in chaos, or more likely to be in problem. So cash management is simply simply say that just keep checking your bank account every day and looking at the balance of your checking account. See if whether you are really like enough cash available in your bank account to cover your expenditures or any kind of unexpected expenses and so on. So cash management, I think you may be familiar with this terminology. Cash management simply means you have to regularly checking your bank account, their balance, so whether your firms are able to meet any types of unexpected expenses. And also account receivable. As I mentioned, like your sales are quite great, but your customers promise you to pay the money, say, year 2017, March, April, and May. So account receivable means that you have to check whether next year's the March, May, and May, the customers really pay to you. Right? If they fail to pay you, then they are bankrupt, and you are also bankrupt, right? They're supposed to pay you, but they fail to pay you, so you don't have money, so you are failed, and that's your bankruptcy. So just make sure that you received what you're supposed to receive from your payee. And inventory. Inventory means like your product stored in your garage, simply say. You have to keep checking the level of that inventory all the times. Not too much inventories as well as not too small inventories. Of course, the level of inventory should be maintained the quite right level. Right? If inventory levels are too low, then you cannot really provide customers promptly. Right? If customers want your product a lot, they're crazy about your product, but if you just cannot supply them as what they want, then customers may be disappointed. So you have to be equipped with like enough your product in your inventories. But too much your product in your inventory may be your cost. So because the storage cost, handling cost, maintaining cost for your item products in the inventory. So that's why maintaining the right levels of inventories are very important. So these are the long-term expenditures. So you buy this one for a long-term purpose, like by buying land, buildings, machines, equipment, IT systems. You not buy this one to use a couple of months, right? You just buy this one for the rest of your, sometimes of your company's life. So when spending on these items, you look forward like their value in far future. And also, payment on this one would be not like one day or a few months of payment. You can actually split the payment into a couple of years sometimes on these items. So when spending this one, much more room to you to buy this one, to purchase this one. So there are two types of expenditure, long-term expenditure and short-term expenditures. So financial managers should clarify where the company required to expand more short-term expenditure or long-term expenditure. Depending on the types of expenditure, their way of balancing cash would be different. If, say, they require a lot of short-term expenditure, then they should be more carefully examining the, say, cash management more carefully. These are some other concern of the financial management. As I said earlier, like the first thing the financial manager's concern is how to spend, where to spend, right, for the benefit of the firms. The second concern is how to raise money, right? As I told you, like for individual of us here, if you need to buy something, you should use your money, right? Without earning, without any income, if you just keep using your credit card, other people's money for your, say, luxurious item or whatever, that's really bad, right? That's really bad. So using other people's money is not really a good idea. But from the company's perspective, you should be wisely use other people's money. So that's the point. Of course, the company use their own money, but why not using other people's money if it brings you with a lot of, say, value and benefits? If you know how to use other people's money wisely, then why not use other people's money? So that's actually the financial manager's job, how the company wisely use other people's money for the benefit of the companies and shareholders. So financing means raising money, simply say, using other people's money. So here, other people's money means money from the bank, right? And also money from the investors. So that roughly financing means. That roughly means raising monies, right? So when you actually raise money, you have to think about, you have to make sure that there are two types of raising money, right? Short-term way of raising money and long-term ways of raising money. So short-term raising money, what you call short-term financing means that if you raise money, you have to pay back short-term. You have to pay back in 1 year. So whatever money you borrow, you have to anyway pay back them in 1 year. So that's short-term financing. While the long-term financing means that when you borrow or use other people's money, you have a lot more year to pay back them, like 2, 3, or sometimes 10 years. So you have to use wisely. You may think that like long-term financing be good because you have a lot of years to pay back. So you may use kind of instrument like monthly payment to the say creditor. However, you may learn that using that long-term, say, other people's money in long-term perspective, long-term way may be damaging your profitability if you understand some calculation formula. So we cannot say that short-term is bad, long-term is good, or vice versa. So the point is, you should right level of usage of other people's money. Let's look at then like short-term financing. So when your firm really need money urgently, you may use short-term financing, right? When you use other people's money, short-term basis, what you can think of first? Bank, right? Just if you need money, just go to bank. And you ask them kind of a loan, 융자, or 대출, right? But for you borrow the money from the bank, what you need is what? 담보, collateral, right? So you have to keep watch, right, to the bank. Otherwise, the bank won't give you any money. But sometimes, even if you don't give your collateral watch to the bank still may lend money to you. That's what they call an unsecured loan. If you are, say, having strong credit, if you have a very strong credit, right? If you have a very sound income, if you are really a modest man, and if bank know who you are, then without really collateral, you can actually borrow the money from the bank, right? And if your companies are find quite good track record in the past, you can issue a commercial paper, CD. Yeah, sorry, commercial paper, kind of volume, right? So, like commercial paper is like, hi, borrow me 10,000, 1,000,000 won, right? You just borrow me, and I give you this big kind of check, and that check describes I pay you 1,000,000 won back by year 2017, May 30. So my lender has that check, and on that day he deposits this check to his bank, and then the money is clear. So that's a kind of a typical way of raising money. Most of the small size or even bigger size of company actually do. When the company need emergency money, simply say the company need to buy, say, a huge machine, say January. They have money, but that money to you will arrive to your account, say, March. Until the money arrived to your account in March, like 1억 won, huge money, but until then, you are nothing, right? But you need to really machine now, January. You just cannot wait until March, right? So in that case, you need urgent money. So in that case, if your firms are really strong enough, then commercial paper may, say, help the firm. So, hey, see, 1억 won will come to my account next year, March. So just please borrow me. No need to worry about like bankruptcy of my company. So you can lend me money, but I issue a commercial bank to you. And trade credit as well. So anyway, if you are very strong enough in your business, in the past record in terms of revenue, profit, or whatever, then without securing your watches to the bank, you can still borrow money, what I call short-term loan, unsecured short-term loan. However, sometimes the lender asks you a very strong 담보, collaterals. to lend their money to you. That's what I call a secured short-term loan. I think most of the typical example of loans are secured loans, so without really showing collateral, 담보, like land or building. Do you know what collateral is, right? Without secure this one, showing this one to the lender, certainly the lender do not borrow any money to you, do not really lend any money to you, fund to you. But once you secured a short-term loan, that itself can be used another way of monetary transactions, like factoring would be the classic example. So simply factoring means like if I borrow you 1,000만 원, then I give you 1,000만 원 check, right? So that check describes that the money will be arrived to his bank account year 2017, December 1st. So next year, December 1st, if he deposits that check in his bank account, then the money arrived to him. But suddenly, like year 2017, in the middle of summer, he cannot really wait until December because he needs to go to vacation. He also needs urgent money. So he just cannot wait until December. Then he may sell this check at discount price to somebody else, right? So that's what I call factoring. So monetary transaction create another kinds of monetary transaction. So that's actually how economy, by using the medium of finance, vitalized. And long term, so the examples I mentioned before was short term. So when you need money urgently, shortly, then these are the mechanisms. So it's kind of system you may use. But sometimes the company need to raise a huge amount of money that can be used like 10 years sometimes. Say if your company, say, thinking about African market, by building, say, 10 factories, which requiring, say, $10 billion, 10조. How can you raise that money? The bank? No. The bank doesn't have that big money, right? From rich man? No, I don't think so. So in that case, you have to think about some other ways. So that's what I call, the example here is way of, say, helping your financing long term, which tend to be kind of a huge amount of money, just like example of, say, 10 billion, for instance. So you can raise that huge amount of money by issuing what? More stocks. What do you mean by issuing more stocks? Issuing more stocks means you attract more investors. So, you know what I'm saying. You invite more owners. Right? Let's say that your company's stocks consist of 100,000 stocks. 10만 주. But say in order to raise money, you print out, say, 500,000 stocks to new people. So that's what I call equity financing. So by issuing more stocks, by doing so, you can attract more shareholders. So that the shareholders buy your stock. So he becomes the shareholders, and their purchase of stocks, the money, goes to your company's bank account. So you can raise more money, right? What's the good part of this kind of this way of money raising? You raise money by issuing more stocks, by having more shareholders. What's the advantage of using this one?
I feel share is something like companies do pay dividends, but they don't have to.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't have money. So it's different from bonds or.
Yeah, exactly. So you're right. So I have more shareholders, but there's no obligation for the company to pay the dividends to the shareholders. If the company doesn't make any profit, then the shareholders won't get anything. So you buy my share means, my company share means, you take the risk of my business as owners, as being together by being the owner of the firms. Right? So if my company become really, really profitable, then you may receive a lot of dividends. However, if my company going bad, and you won't get anything. So from the company's perspective, I don't have any obligation to pay you your invested money, right? So that may be the good part. What's the bad part for me, the company's perspective? Yeah, exactly. Now I have more owners, right? So you may, individual you raise a lot of your voices of my business activities, which may be causing like headache. Whatever I try to do, you may object something against me and so, right? So that may be a negative part sometimes, good part, but could be a negative part sometimes from the company's perspective. So the point is, there is a equity financing on one hand. What about then debt financing? Now, these are the debt finance. Simply by you issue bonds, for instance, like 회사채, right? So you issue a kind of bonds, and the third party, third man, other people, anybody can buy your bond. So if somebody else buy your company's bonds, that means you have to pay them interest of the bond regularly, and at the end of the maturity date of the bond, you have to pay the principal. Again, depending on the types of the bonds, the maturity dates are varied a lot. Some bonds matured in 5 years, some bonds mature in 20 years. So it is actually up to you, determining the date of the maturity. The easiest way of raising money, as far as your business are quite modest. So a lot of also prefer the way of raising money from the company's perspective. Debt financing. Bonds, mostly. There's the most famous part, the example of debt financing. But unlike the equity financing, you have the obligation to pay the interest regularly, and at the end you pay the principal to the bond holder. So a lot of things to discuss, but I hope that you can study more that in detail in Corporate Finance 1 and Corporate Finance 2, so it'll be very interesting. So we only allowed 1 hour today. So I just quickly, briefly look at what financial management. Actually, that's what you are learning, right? How you are actually planning your money spendings. Your money flow outs are all different. Data of that are all different. But still, in the middle of that complicated cash flow, you still make a plan of your money spending this year, next year, and years to come. And you have to also calculate by using that money spending when you are going to expect your profit, when you are going to expect your return, money return to your firms. For doing that, how can you raise your money? Right, so that's actually what concerns simply in financial management. Okay. Okay, so that's it for today.